Let me ask you something, and be honest with yourself. When was the last time you stopped everything and actually listened to your own mind? Not the noise, not the notifications, not the expectations everyone else has placed on you. I mean you. Your thoughts, your desires, your potential. Most people can't even remember. We've become so accustomed to running on autopilot, pleasing, performing, surviving, that we forget the most important person in the room, ourselves. And because of that, we hand over pieces of our life without even thinking. Our energy, our attention, our confidence, our worth given away like it means nothing. But what if I told you that the reason you feel drained, unfocused, stuck is because you've been investing in everything except the one thing that actually matters? What if the thing holding you back isn't a lack of talent or opportunity, but the fact that you've forgotten how powerful you really are? Stay with me, because today is not about motivation. It's not about cliches or feel-good quotes. Today is about truth, clarity, a wake-up call. Because the moment you finally understand how valuable you are, the moment you decide to reclaim your focus, your entire life shifts. Not slowly, not someday, but instantly. Something inside you wakes up, and today we're going to wake it up. It's time to focus. It's time to value yourself. Your mind is the most powerful, influential, and valuable thing you own, yet most people treat it like it belongs to everyone else. Think about that. You wouldn't hand the keys to your home to a stranger and let them walk in, rearrange your furniture, leave their mess everywhere, or disturb your peace whenever they felt like it. But that is exactly what many of us do with our mental space. We let anyone and anything walk right in, uninvited, unchecked, and unrestricted. Reclaiming your mental real estate begins with understanding that your attention is a currency. Every time you give a piece of it away, voluntarily or not, you are spending a part of your life. And most people are going broke, not financially, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, because they have no control over where their attention goes. You must start treating your focus like something sacred, something that requires protection, intention, and boundaries. Most of the distractions you encounter every day aren't accidents. They are engineered. Notifications are designed to pull you in. Drama is designed to trap you emotionally. Toxic people thrive on occupying space in your mind. And the worst part? We participate in this cycle without realizing the cost. If your mind feels cluttered, if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel stuck, it's not because you lack ability. It's because your mental real estate is overcrowded by things that don't belong there. Start paying attention to what enters your mind. The thoughts you entertain, the conversations you tolerate, the content you consume, the people you listen to, the stories you repeat to yourself, these shape your world. They are not passive experiences. They create your emotions, your decisions, your behavior, and ultimately your life. If you don't choose what fills your mind, something else will. And trust me, it won't be something that helps you grow. Look at your daily habits. You wake up, check your phone, and before your feet even hit the ground, your mind is already hijacked by someone else's agenda. Messages, feeds, opinions, none of which help you build the life you want. You haven't even had a moment to define your own thoughts for the day because the noise gets there first. When you operate like this, you're not living your life. You're reacting to everything around you. Reclaiming your mental real estate means taking back that first moment. It means choosing what your mind receives before the world gets access to it. Do you start your day with intention, or do you immediately let external noise dictate how you feel? Do you decide what matters today, or do you let everyone else decide for you? This small shift changes everything. When you control the first moments of your day, you begin to learn how to control the rest. The people in your life are also part of your mental environment. Some encourage growth, challenge your thinking, and bring clarity. Others drain you, distract you, and plant seeds of doubt. You know exactly who those people are, and yet you allow them unlimited access to your mind. You replay their words, their criticism, their negativity over and over as if their voice matters more than your own. Why? Because you haven't set boundaries. And without boundaries, people will take as much space as you give them. Start asking yourself who gets access to my mind and who has earned that privilege. Your mental space is not a free for all. It should be by invitation only. You get to choose who influences your thoughts. You get to decide who stays and who goes. You get to say, no, you don't get to live in my mind anymore. That is power. That is self-respect. But reclaiming mental real estate isn't just about removing the wrong things. It's also about adding the right ones. Feed your mind with things that build you, strengthen you, challenge you, and help you grow. Read more, learn more, practice silence, reflect, go deeper. When you intentionally fill your mind with quality thoughts, there is simply no room left for the junk. The truth is this: your mind is constantly absorbing and processing everything around you, whether you realize it or not. The music you listen to, the conversations you have, the shows you watch, the articles you read, the places you spend time in, they all influence your mental state. You must start curating these inputs the same way you would curate your physical environment. If something doesn't add value, clarity, or purpose, it doesn't belong. And then there is the biggest intruder of all, your own negative inner dialogue, the doubts, the fears, the comparison, the what-ifs. These thoughts sneak in quietly, but they take up massive space. They occupy your mind until you start believing them. But here's the truth: your negative thoughts are not facts. They are habits. They are patterns, and patterns can be changed. The moment you challenge your own thoughts, you begin reclaiming control. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me or hurting me? If it's hurting you, it has no place in your mental space. Reclaiming your mental real estate also means recognizing that silence is powerful. Being alone with your thoughts is not loneliness, it's clarity. It's the moment you reconnect with yourself. People avoid silence because it forces them to confront truths they've been running from. But that confrontation is exactly what frees you. When you create space for your own thoughts, you finally hear your own voice, and that voice is the one that directs your life. This isn't about isolating yourself from the world. It's about choosing what you allow into your mind with purpose. When your mental space is clean, focused, and protected, you become sharper, you make better decisions, you operate with confidence, you stop reacting to life and start creating it. You show up with intention instead of exhaustion. You finally feel aligned, grounded, and in control. Reclaiming your mental real estate is not a one-time task, it is a lifelong practice. But it is one of the most powerful practices you will ever commit to. Because the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your thoughts. Protect your mind like it's your greatest asset, because it is. When you reclaim your mental space, you reclaim your power. And once you reclaim your power, everything in your life begins to shift in your favor. Understanding your worth begins with a simple but uncomfortable truth. You have spent too much of your life waiting for approval, waiting for validation, waiting for someone to tell you you're good enough, smart enough, talented enough, or worthy enough to take the next step. You've been conditioned to believe that your value is something you earn, not something you inherently possess. And because of that, you've lived smaller than your potential, settling for less than you deserve, and shrinking yourself to make others feel more comfortable. But the day you stop asking for permission to be valuable is the day you begin to actually live. You were not born to fit into someone else's expectations. You were not created to meet standards that others set for you. Yet somewhere along the journey, maybe from childhood, maybe from past failures, maybe from the wrong relationships or environments, you learn to second-guess yourself. You learn to apologize for your strengths and hide your aspirations. You learn to downplay your gifts because standing out made you afraid of being judged, misunderstood, or rejected. But here's the truth: you need to hear your worth is non-negotiable. It is not something that changes based on what people think of you. It does not rise when someone compliments you, and it does not fall when someone criticizes you. Your worth is internal, rooted in who you are, not in what you do or who approves of you. When you constantly seek validation, you are handing the power of your identity to people who do not live your life, do not understand your path, and do not have the right to define you. You are outsourcing your self-esteem to opinions that are temporary, biased, and often irrelevant. And the more you do this, the more disconnected you become from your true self. You start living someone else's life instead of your own. You need to remember that value is not something granted, it is something recognized. And the first person who must recognize it is you. Because when you do, your entire posture changes. You stop lowering your standards just to be liked. You stop tolerating disrespect, neglect, and half-effort. You stop giving your energy to people who do not appreciate it. You stop apologizing for wanting more out of life. You stop living in fear of disappointing others. Suddenly, you begin to choose yourself. You begin to prioritize what you need, what you want, and what you deserve. And let's be clear, understanding your worth is not arrogance. It is not entitlement. It is not thinking you're better than anyone else. It is simply knowing that you matter, that your time, your voice, your dreams, your well-being, and your potential are important. It is refusing to abandon yourself for the comfort or approval of others. Look at the times in your life when you stayed silent because you didn't want to upset someone. Think of the moments you agreed to something you didn't want just to be accepted. Remember the opportunities you didn't take because you doubted yourself. Those are the costs of undervaluing yourself. Every time you choose fear over potential, you shrink. Every time you let someone treat you poorly, you reinforce the message that your worth is negotiable. Every time you hesitate to use your gifts, they grow weaker. You must break this pattern, and it starts with one decision: deciding you are enough as you are. Not when you achieve a goal, not when someone praises you, not when you become perfect, because perfection is a myth. You are enough right now. And being enough does not mean you stop growing. It means you stop doubting your right to grow. One of the greatest shifts happens when you begin to take up space unapologetically. This means voicing your ideas without worrying if they sound good. It means saying no without guilt. It means pursuing your dreams without waiting for someone to say you're ready. It means walking away from environments that do not support your growth. It means trusting your intuition even when others don't understand it. You stop contorting yourself to fit the narrative of who you should be and start embracing who you actually are. If you're waiting for someone to give you permission to elevate your life, that day will never come. People rarely encourage you to outgrow them. People rarely push you to move beyond the limits they've accepted for themselves. You must choose to grow anyway. You must choose to rise even when it makes others uncomfortable. Your evolution is not supposed to be convenient for everyone. It is supposed to be transformative for you. Understanding your worth also means recognizing your unique value. No one else has lived your life. No one else has your exact experiences, challenges, strengths, or perspective. Everything you've gone through, every failure, every heartbreak, every setback has shaped you into someone capable of strength, resilience, and insight. These are not weaknesses. They are assets, but you have to see them that way. You have to honor your story instead of hiding it. You have to trust that there is something powerful within you that deserves expression. When you understand your worth, you make different choices. You stop chasing people who don't choose you. You stop comparing your journey to others. You stop begging for attention. You stop over-explaining yourself. You begin to walk with intention. You begin to move with confidence. You begin to believe that your dreams are not random. They are assignments. And people feel that energy. When you know your value, you don't have to prove anything. You don't have to convince anyone to see your light. The right people will recognize it naturally, and the wrong people will remove themselves because they cannot handle it. Either outcome is a win. Finally, understanding your worth is not a one-time revelation. It is a daily practice. You have to remind yourself often. You have to catch the moments when you slip into old habits of self-doubt and redirect your mind. You have to build a relationship with yourself based on respect, compassion, and trust. And the more you do this, the more powerful you become. Your worth is not up for negotiation. Stop asking for permission to be valuable. Own it, live it, show up like someone who knows they matter. Because once you do, everything in your life begins to elevate. Your relationships, your work, your happiness, your confidence, your direction. The world makes room for people who know who they are. And it's time you became one of them. Your environment is one of the most powerful influences in your life, yet most people treat it as if it's something that happens to them instead of something they can choose. The people around you, their habits, their standards, their beliefs, their expectations are not neutral. They shape you, they influence how you think, how you speak, how you move, and what you believe is possible for yourself. Whether you realize it or not, your inner circle is slowly guiding the direction of your future. This is why choosing your environment wisely isn't optional. It is essential. Look at your life right now. Think about the 5 people you interact with the most. How do they make you feel? Who do they encourage you to become? What behaviors do they normalize? You absorb their mindset without even realizing it. Their fears become your fears. Their limitations become your limitations. Their attitude becomes your attitude. Humans are wired to adapt, and we adapt most to what we're consistently around. So if your circle is filled with people who complain, blame, avoid responsibility, and settle for mediocrity, you will start doing the same even if you don't want to. Not because you are weak, but because you are human. Your inner circle is a mirror. It reflects back to you who you are becoming. If you surround yourself with people who are driven, disciplined, growth-oriented, and committed to elevating their lives, your standards naturally rise. You begin to think bigger. You begin to expect more from yourself. You begin to stretch your potential. But if your environment is filled with negativity, jealousy, laziness, or chaos, you slowly absorb that too. You begin shrinking instead of growing. You begin questioning yourself instead of believing in yourself. You begin settling instead of striving. And here's the reality that most avoid: not everyone in your life is meant to stay. Some people belong to your past, not your future. Some relationships only make sense when you don't know your worth yet. Some friendships were built when your standards were lower. when you start growing, those relationships feel tighter, heavier, misaligned. You feel it. A part of you knows you need something different, something more supportive, something more aligned with the person you're trying to become. But letting go feels uncomfortable, so you stay longer than you should. But here's a truth that will liberate you. You do not owe anyone access to you, not forever, not at the cost of your growth. The people who drain you mentally, emotionally, or spiritually may have history with you, but history is not a good enough reason to sacrifice your future. You can appreciate what someone meant in your life while also understanding that they no longer fit the direction you're moving in. Growth requires choices, and sometimes those choices look like distance. Choosing your environment wisely also means being honest about your current circle. Who pushes you to be better? Who challenges your thinking? Who celebrates your wins sincerely? Who encourages your dreams? Who holds you to a higher standard? And who drains your energy, dismisses your ideas, belittles your efforts, or keeps you stuck in old patterns? If you can answer these questions honestly, you will instantly see why certain areas of your life feel stagnant. There are people who add to your life and people who subtract from it. There are people who multiply your energy and those who divide it. Your job is to identify the difference. You cannot grow in soil that does not nourish you. You cannot thrive in an environment that constantly pulls you down. You cannot build a strong, focused, disciplined life while surrounded by people who live on excuses, envy, or fear. Every time you choose someone who limits you, you limit yourself. Every time you stay in an environment that drains your energy, you delay your progress. Every time you spend time around people who don't value growth, you start doubting the importance of your own. But when you surround yourself with people who are hungry, committed, positive, and aligned with your vision, something shifts. You begin rising naturally. Choosing your inner circle is not. Resilience isn't something you're born with, it's something you earn. It's built, tested, shaped, and strengthened through experiences that push you far beyond your comfort zone, the moments you thought would break you, and it ended up becoming the very moments that built you. But most people don't realize how strong they actually are because they only measure their capability by the times they succeeded, not by the storms they survived. You are far more capable than you think, but you won't know that until you learn how to trust yourself, and that trust is born from resilience. And building resilience begins with accepting that challenges are not signs of weakness or failure, they are part of the process. Life will test you. Life will stretch you. Life will force you to grow through situations you never asked for. But every hardship carries a lesson. Every setback has a purpose. Every struggle is preparing you for the next level of your life. You have already survived things that would have crushed other people. You have endured disappointment, heartbreak, rejection, fear, uncertainty, and pain, but you're still standing, you're still moving, you're still searching for better. That alone is proof of your strength. Most people underestimate their resilience because they expect strength to feel comfortable. They think confidence should feel natural. They think courage should feel easy. But true strength often feels like fear, discomfort, and doubt. It feels like waking up and facing the same challenge again even though yesterday was hard. It feels like trying when you have every reason to give up. It feels like moving forward without a guarantee. That is resilience, showing up even when you don't feel ready, even when you don't know the outcome. And resilience leads to something even more powerful, self-trust. Self-trust is built every time you keep a promise to yourself. Every time you follow through on a goal. Every time you try something new. Every time you get back up after falling. Every time you choose discipline over excuses. These moments teach your mind one critical message: I can count on myself. And once you trust yourself, there is nothing you can't overcome. But lack of self-trust is often the reason people stay stuck. They don't believe they can succeed, so they don't even try. They doubt their abilities, so they play small. They fear failure, so they avoid risk. They feel unprepared, so they wait, and waiting becomes a lifestyle. But here's the truth: you will never feel perfectly ready. You will never feel completely fearless. You will never have absolute certainty. Trust doesn't come before action, it comes from taking action. Confidence comes from doing the thing you're afraid of. Strength comes from facing what you think you can't handle. If you want to build self-trust, start by keeping small promises to yourself. Wake up when you say you will. Complete the task you started. Stick to the goal you set. These moments may seem insignificant, but they build the foundation of your identity. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you weaken that foundation. Every time you follow through, you reinforce it. Your brain learns whether you are someone who can be relied on or someone who cannot. Build the identity of someone who follows through, and your confidence will rise naturally. Another essential part of resilience is learning to accept failure without letting it define you. Failure is not the opposite of success, it is part of success. It teaches you, it strengthens you, it refines you. The most resilient people aren't the ones who avoid failure. They are the ones who refuse to stay down. They allow themselves to feel disappointment, but they do not let it turn into defeat. They examine what went wrong, adjust their strategy, and try again. This ability to stand back up again and again is what creates unstoppable confidence. And let's talk about courage, because you cannot build resilience without it. Courage is not loud or dramatic. Sometimes courage is quiet. It's the whisper inside you that says, try again. It's the moment you choose to face a fear instead of running from it. It's the decision to step into uncertainty despite the discomfort. Courage is doing what's necessary for your growth even when other people don't understand. Even when you feel alone. Even when you doubt yourself. And the more you practice courage, the stronger your resilience becomes. The truth is, you've built resilience your entire life without even noticing. Every challenge you overcame taught you something. Every tough moment sharpened your emotional muscles. Every experience where you kept going, even in silence, created a deeper level of strength. You have already proven to yourself time and time again that you can handle far more than you think. The problem isn't capability. The problem is recognition you've done. Becoming the architect of your future means understanding that your life is not something that just happens to you. It's something you can design, build, and shape with intention. But many people drift through life as spectators, reacting to circumstances instead of creating them. They wait for the right time, the perfect opportunity, or a burst of motivation that magically carries them forward. But that's not how transformation works. Your future isn't built in giant leaps, it's built in small steps repeated consistently. It's built through focus, discipline, and deliberate daily action. The question isn't whether you can create the life you want. The question is whether you're willing to take responsibility for it. Taking responsibility for your future begins with clarity. You must know where you want to go. Too many people wander through life without a vision, living day to day without a sense of direction. They feel frustrated, stuck, or unfulfilled. Not because they're incapable, but because they're unfocused. When you don't have a clear vision, everything feels like a distraction. But when your vision is clear, you know exactly what matters. You know what to say yes to, and more importantly, what to say no to. Focus begins with clarity, knowing the life you want and the person you need to become to live it. But clarity alone is not enough. You need consistency. Consistency is the bridge between goals and results. It's the uncomfortable, unglamorous truth behind every success story you admire. Most people fail not because they lack ability, but because they lack commitment. They start strong, motivated by excitement, but when the excitement fades, as it always does, they stop. They wait for the next wave of motivation, and meanwhile their dreams gather dust. Consistency isn't about intensity, it's about frequency. It's about showing up every day, doing the work, even when it doesn't feel inspiring, even when you're tired. Even when progress feels slow, you don't need perfection, you need persistence. And this is where daily action comes in. Becoming the architect of your future means understanding that your future is built in the present, right here, right now. What you do today matters. What you choose today matters. The habits you build today shape the person you become tomorrow. Every day you have two choices to move closer to your vision or further away from it. Even the smallest action, repeated over time, compounds into something powerful. Think about it, writing 1 page a day becomes a book by the end of the year. Saving a small amount consistently becomes financial freedom. Practicing a skill daily turns you into a master. It's not the size of the action, it's the consistency of it. But to build this consistency, you must eliminate the idea that you need the perfect moment to start. There is no perfect moment. Waiting is the enemy of progress. You do not need a complete plan to begin. You do not need confidence before taking action. You do not need permission from anyone. What you need is willingness. Willingness to begin, willingness to learn, willingness to fail forward, and willingness to keep going. Action creates clarity. Action creates momentum. Action creates confidence. You do not become ready first. You become ready by doing. Being the architect of your future also means building a system that supports your goals. Relying on willpower alone is a losing strategy. Willpower fluctuates, but systems keep you grounded. Systems are habits, routines, structures, and boundaries that remove friction and make success easier. If your goal is to get healthier, your system is your meal prep, your sleep schedule, your workouts. If your goal is to grow your career, your system is your skill development, networking, and disciplined work habits. Systems create stability, and stability creates progress. When you create the right conditions, growth becomes natural. Another critical part of building your future is taking full ownership of your life. This means letting go of excuses, blame, and the tendency to wait for external rescue. No one is coming to build your future for you. No one will hand you the life you dream of. No one is responsible for your discipline, your mindset, your habits, or your outcomes. You have the power to change your life, but only if you choose to step into that power. Ownership is liberating because it puts the control back in your hands. You are not defined by your past, your mistakes, or your circumstances. You define you through your choices and actions. Focus is the foundation of this entire process. Without focus, your energy is scattered. Without focus, you chase distractions instead of goals. Without focus, you start many things but finish nothing. To design your future, you must learn the art of selective attention, choosing what deserves your energy and eliminating what doesn't. Focus means prioritizing your long-term vision over short-term gratification. It means making decisions that serve your future self, not just your current comfort. True focus feels like alignment, where your actions match your intentions. As you begin shaping your future, you will encounter resistance, internal and external. Fear will whisper that you're not ready. Doubt will question your abilities. People around you may not understand your new direction. That's normal. Growth often feels lonely before it feels rewarding. But remember this, every meaningful transformation requires you to outgrow something: old habits, old beliefs, old environments, and sometimes old versions of yourself. If you want a life you've never had, you must become someone you've never been. The most powerful thing about designing your future is realizing that it's within your control. You're not at the mercy of luck, timing, or circumstance. You are capable of building something extraordinary with what you have right now. But you must be intentional. You must be consistent. You must take daily action even when it feels insignificant. Because those small moments, compounded over time, are what transform your life. Becoming the architect of your future is not about creating a perfect life. It's about creating a meaningful one. A life that reflects your values, your purpose, your potential. A life that is built with intention, not convenience. And the moment you take full responsibility for that life, the moment you decide to show up with focus, consistency, and deliberate daily action, is the moment everything changes. Your future begins the second you decide to build it. When everything is stripped away, the noise, the doubts, the expectations, the truth becomes clear. Your life is shaped by the choices you make, the priorities you set, and the belief you hold about your own worth. No one can walk your path for you. No one can build your discipline, protect your focus, or create your future. That responsibility, that power, and that privilege belong to you alone. You are not here to live on autopilot. You are not here to shrink, settle, or simply survive. You are here to rise. You are here to grow. You are here to become the strongest, most capable, most focused version of yourself. And that begins the moment you decide that you deserve better, not someday, but today. Stop waiting for permission. Stop handing your power to circumstances. Stop letting doubt choose your direction. Your mind is yours to protect. Your worth is yours to define. Your environment is yours to choose. Your resilience is yours to build. And your future is yours to create. The world doesn't owe you clarity, confidence, or opportunity. You build those by showing up for yourself again and again. And when you commit to valuing yourself, focusing on what matters, and taking consistent action, you become unstoppable. So let this be your turning point. Not just a lesson, not just a speech, but a decision to take back your life, a decision to honor your potential, a decision to finally bet on yourself. Because the truth is simple: you are capable, you are worthy, you are powerful, and it's time the world and you see exactly what you're made of.